Tuco tasted something he'd never experienced before and was so excited that he started dancing and waving his arms.
Tight, yeah!
This was top-quality stuff that Tuco had never seen back in his hometown in Mexico. After that, he promptly paid the money and decided to work with Heisenberg for the long term. However, Nodo's loose lips accidentally angered Tuco, which cost Nodo's dearly and made Walter and Jesse even more fearful of Tuco. This is the beginning of the second season of Breaking Bad. Continuing the plot from the end of the first season, Walter and Jesse return to their car, terrified. After some precise mental calculations by Walter, he figured out that he needed to leave $737,000 in cash for his family before he died. Based on the money he got from each deal, he would have to trade with Tuco at least 11 more times to reach his goal. Learning from this lesson, Walter decided that all future deals should take place in busy public areas so that Tuco wouldn't be able to fly into a rage unchecked. Jesse looked at Walter with a face full of horror. Clearly, he was not willing to take such risks to make money, but he didn't know how to refuse Walter and could only drive properly for now. However, just as they were about to leave, they found that Tuco's car had turned back. It turned out that Nodos was so badly injured that he was about to die, and Tuco wanted the clever Walter to help save him. Although Walter was talented in chemistry, he was not omnipotent. At this point, Nodos had already lost his pulse, and Walter could do nothing. Seeing Nodos unable to take a beating, an angry Tuco went up and kicked him several more times, scaring Walter and Jesse into retreating. They knew Tuco was ruthless, but they didn't expect him to be so merciless that he wouldn't even spare a dead man. He ordered his henchman Gonzo to dispose of the body. Although Gonzo was reluctant, he still didn't dare to defy Tuco's orders. As Gonzo was stuffing the body under the car, he accidentally touched the chassis. The stacked cars above made a creaking, shaking noise, frightening him so much that he quickly stood up and backed away. This set the stage for his subsequent death. Seeing Tuco slowly regain his calm, Walter and Jesse prepared to sneak away. As they were leaving, Jesse was pushed to the ground by Tuco, but Jesse dared not speak out in anger. They hurriedly drove away. Back at home, Walter, in a daze, kept changing TV channels, not even hearing his wife calling him.
Are you okay?
Right?
Worried that Walter was hungry, his thoughtful wife went to get him something to eat. At this moment, Walter, with tears in his eyes and a troubled face, came to his wife's side. He had planned to relax with his wife, but was chastised by his unprepared wife. At this moment, Walter didn't know what to do and could only sit by the pool to ease his panicked mood. Skylar thinks he's worried because of the cancer, which she understands, but warns Walter that he can't take it out on himself again. Meanwhile, Jesse bought a gun secretly for self-defense. The next day, Walter found Jesse, and the two of them had a heated argument. Panicked, Jesse hadn't slept all night. Seeing a car moving back and forth in front of his house, he was certain Tuco was ready to take them out, but Walter didn't think so and advised Jesse not to be paranoid because he still wanted to make his small fortune through Tuco. Seeing Walter's attitude, Jesse became anxious. He insisted they find a way to take out Tuco, or else they would be the ones to die. Then Jesse pulled out a gun he had prepared. Walter asked Jesse what his exact plan was. Jesse suggested that Walter create a new product. During the trade, Tuco would definitely taste it first, and they could take the opportunity to kill him right then, but the attentive Walter immediately spotted a flaw in Jesse's plan. Saying Tuco wouldn't come alone, Walter asked Jesse how many bullets the gun could hold. Jesse tried to check but couldn't open the magazine. Walter mocked him, saying he couldn't even open a magazine and still wanted to go kill someone.
It's not that easy, is it?
Hey man, well you did it.
On the other hand, Marie, discovered by Skylar to be stealing, refused to admit her wrongdoing. Skylar was so angry that she ignored her sister until she apologized and admitted her mistakes. However, Marie kept acting as if nothing was wrong, asking her sister out to have fun, but her sister never picked up her phone. There's a detail here. The cup Marie used had "We See Right 3" written on it, which is an ironic comment on Marie's thievery. Everyone knows what she's thinking, but only she herself is playing dumb. Hank also noticed her friction with Skylar, but Marie still refused to admit it. When leaving, Hank didn't forget to remind Marie to see a psychologist, as he had long known about Marie's issues and had been secretly treating her. Although Marie verbally agreed, she was very resistant inside, as could be seen when she deliberately crushed a neighbor kid's toy car. Although Hank was speechless, this was also related to his indulgence of his wife. Helplessly, he had to foot the bill for Marie's behavior. Just arriving at the DEA, Hank received a surveillance video of raw materials being stolen from a chemical plant in the south of the city. Watching the clumsy thieves, Hank and his colleagues couldn't help but laugh. Learning that a barrel of methylamine was stolen, Hank immediately realized this was the old-school academic way of doing things in the arts, and they also knew how to use thermite to unlock doors. It had to be said that these two thieves were quite knowledgeable about chemistry. Stephen guessed it might just be two students messing around, but Hank prayed that he would be the one to catch them. It would be even worse if those Mexicans set their sights on them. When Walter returned home that night, he found an SUV loitering at his doorstep, which kept him up all night. He was worried that Tuco was coming to harm his family. Just then, the phone suddenly rang. It was another message from Marie. Skylar heard it and immediately hung up. Skylar questioned Walter why he wasn't sleeping in bed. Walter quickly explained that he felt unwell and couldn't sleep. It must be said that Walter's lying skills had now become quite polished. Only after his wife left did he put the knife he was holding back. Then Walter rushed over to Jesse's place. Last time, Jesse had revealed his background to Crazy 8. Walter thought Jesse had leaked the information this time too, but Jesse firmly denied it, knowing that with Tuco's capabilities, finding Walter's house wouldn't be difficult. This made Walter's heart chill. His initial intention in starting this path was to protect his family, and he couldn't let his family be threatened because of Tuco. At that moment, Jesse suggested Walter buy another gun to increase their odds of winning, but Walter said he had a better idea. He pulled out a small packet of castor beans from his pocket. This left the clueless Jesse completely baffled. Walter had to patiently explain that he could extract ricin from them, a deadly poison that could kill someone in very small doses, undetectably. Meanwhile, at home alone and bored, Skylar looks at old photos to relieve her boredom, and inadvertently sees an intimate photo of herself and her former boss, which sets the stage for her to return to the company. Just then, Hank suddenly visited because he knew Skylar had been ignoring Marie's calls, making Marie cold towards him too. He wanted Skylar to reconcile with Marie for his sake. Reluctantly, Skylar told Hank about Marie's stealing, but Hank remained very calm. At this moment, Skylar realized that Hank had always known about Marie's issues. Hank explained he had been trying hard to persuade Marie to see a psychologist, but it was a gradual process. He hoped Skylar could understand Marie and help her. However, this speech directly angered Skylar.
Me, the almost 40-year-old pregnant woman with a surprise baby on the way, and the husband with lung cancer who disappears for hours on end and I don't know where he goes and he barely even speaks to me anymore, with the moody son who does the same thing, and the overdrawn checking account, and the lukewarm water heater that leaks rusty-looking and is rotting out the floor of the utility closet and we can't even afford to fix it. But oh, I see. Now I'm supposed to go, Hank. Please, what can I possibly do to further benefit my spoiled, kleptomaniac sister who somehow always manages to be the center of attention? Because God knows, she's the one with the really important problems.
Hank was completely taken aback, seeing Skylar break down crying, and he carefully approached to comfort her. On the other side, after a long and complex process, Walter finally successfully extracted the ricin. They then continuously rehearsed the poisoning scenario, inventing various lines to ensure nothing went wrong. This was the typical nervous mentality of ordinary people before committing a crime. Just then, Walter received a call from Hank, who was on duty. He said he had accidentally angered Skylar during the day. He had wanted to resolve the conflict between the sisters but ended up making things worse. He wanted to get a sense of Skylar's condition through Walter, not expecting Walter to still be out so late. Hank, who likes to show off, sends Walter a photo of the crime scene to open his eyes. To their surprise, the scene showed no does. The henchman Tuco had beaten to death. Oddly enough, Gonzo was also found dead at the scene. Seeing this, Walter froze. He quickly got dressed, took Jesse's only gun, and told Jesse to get as far away as possible. They believed that since Tuco had killed Gonzo, they would be next. Walter hurried back to protect his family. Jesse quickly took the money he had hidden, ready to run away. Panicked, Walter returned home and called out his wife and child's names, but no one responded, and the house was eerily quiet. Hearing a slight noise from the bathroom, Walter cautiously approached with his gun. Opening the door, he found his wife safe in the bath and learned his son was staying overnight at a friend's house. Walter finally breathed a sigh of relief. He hurriedly took the money he had hidden in the air vent and put it in his daughter's diaper box, including Jesse's gun. He was afraid that if something happened to him, his family wouldn't be able to find the money he had hidden. Meanwhile, Hank, after careful identification, discovered that the two dead were Tuco's men, likely killed because they were no longer of use. However, turning Gonzo's body over revealed that he had died from massive blood loss due to an accident while moving the body when something fell and crushed his arm. Early on, when Tuco told Gonzo to dispose of the body, Gonzo had said they couldn't just leave Nodos here, so Gonzo, behind Tuco's back, came here intending to properly bury Nodos but ended up losing his life. Meanwhile, Skylar noticed Walter was very troubled and tried to communicate with him, but Walter said he didn't know where to start. Just then, Jesse called, but Walter hung up directly. Then he saw a shadow pass by the window. Panicked, Walter rushed to the window to check but found Jesse's car already parked at the door. Confused, Walter hurried out to send him away, only to find Tuco in the back seat pointing a gun at Jesse.
Get in.
Shocked, Walter had no choice but to leave without saying goodbye.